What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our SEC football channel. The Auburn Tigers had one of the most difficult schedules in the country in 2019. They had to play Oregon in the non-conference. They had to play Georgia and Florida, the top two teams out of the East. And then they also, of course, had to go through the SEC West. So it was a really difficult schedule. And the 2020 schedule is difficult as well, but I don't think it's quite as bad. You're always going to have a tough schedule when you play in the SEC West, and then you also have to play Georgia every year, and then you also schedule a pretty tough non-conference game almost every year. So you always know the schedule is going to be tough if you're Auburn. 2020 is no different, but I do think the schedule is a little bit better than what they had in 2019. So let's take a look at that schedule. It opens up with an easy one. Alcorn State on September the 5th. Opening weekend of the college football season, so at least they get a week one game to kind of get a new offensive line and a lot of new faces on defense, some playing time, some time together, and maybe that will benefit them because week two, it's going to be a tough challenge. They're going to play North Carolina, a team that I know was awful a couple of years ago, but this past season, I think they really found something. They lost a lot of close games. They were very close to beating Clemson. This game will be in Atlanta, neutral site. I think this is going to be a tough test for Auburn. Sam Howell versus Bo Nix, two of the rising stars at that quarterback position. Really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. Could maybe be a shootout, and could be, again, a lot of fun. But that is going to be a must-win for Auburn. They've got to win that game, but again, I think it's going to be tough. I think it's one that could go either way. Ole Miss is next on the schedule. Tigers play them on the road. Going to have to go into a pretty tough environment. Lane Kiffin, he's going to have that program energized. Ole Miss, I guarantee you, will be ready for this game. Rebels almost beat Auburn last year. They came back late in the game, made it really interesting, had the ball driving with a chance to either tie or take the lead. I can't remember. So that could be a tough test there as well. Then they play Southern Miss, and then a sneaky good Kentucky team on the road. At home on October the 3rd. So they open up the month of October with Kentucky at home. It's going to be a good Kentucky team, a team that's going to be really good, especially at running the football. When you look at what they've got with Terry Wilson now back at quarterback, the backs they've got, the offensive line they've got. This will be a tough test, I think, for this Auburn team as well. It should be a pretty good matchup there. But they're playing at home, and playing at home, I think, will give the Tigers a little bit of an advantage in that game. And then they play October 10th at Georgia. And again, I know I've said this multiple times if you watched a lot of the videos that I've done. You get rid of the Auburn-Georgia at the end of the season. And keep in mind, they used to have a cupcake game between Georgia and Alabama. So they had an easy game in there in between. So it wasn't that bad. So you replace Georgia at the end of the season with LSU. How does that make any sense? And now they have no cupcake game before Alabama. It's just back-to-back LSU, Alabama. So I don't see any benefit from this at all, except for the fact that they don't have the road games together. They don't play at Georgia and at Alabama, both within a 3-week span. But again, you had basically a bye week in between those games. I think the schedule was better off the way it was before. But they'll play Georgia on the road October 10th. A very tough game. Bulldogs will probably be favored in this one by a touchdown or so, maybe more than that. We'll see how the teams look at that time. Then on October the 17th, Texas A&M, a home game for Auburn, but a very good Texas A&M team. This is going to be another big test. This is a big swing game, I think, for both of these teams. I think the winner of this game will have a really good year. I think the loser of this game might be a little bit of a disappointment. So a lot riding on that game with Texas A&M on October 17th. Then after that, they go on the road to play Mississippi State. They get a bye week between Texas A&M and Mississippi State, so that's where their bye week lands. If I was an Auburn fan, or if I was Auburn, I would probably want the bye week before Georgia. That's a better spot, or even between Georgia and Texas A&M, not between Texas A&M and Mississippi State. So not the best bye week, but then again, having to prepare for that air raid offense for Mike Leach, maybe you do need a couple of weeks to get ready. That'll be a challenge there going into Starkville. Then they play Arkansas at home. Don't really know what we're going to get out of the Razorbacks just yet. That could be a tough game for Auburn. Could be an easy win. We'll have to kind of wait and see. UMass should be an easy win. Then you got LSU at home, an LSU team that lost a ton from last year's team. Joe Burrow, I think we had 9 guys go early for the NFL draft, plus the seniors that they lost. plus Joe Brady, the passing game coordinator, plus their defense coordinator. I mean, this program, they lost a ton. Can they come back and play at the level that they played last year? It's a big question. It is a big question. Auburn gets them at home. I think this will be an opportunity for the Auburn Tigers to get a big win late in the season. Maybe. Again, we'll have to see what this LSU team looks like. And then Alabama on the road to close it out. Of course, revenge is going to be on their minds after the Iron Bowl loss last year. This could be a really tough game for Auburn. But it is the Iron Bowl, even when one team is down a little bit. And we haven't really seen Alabama down in a long time. But when Auburn's down a little bit, let's say, they seem to find a way to make these games at least close. And I believe the stat is still that Nick Saban has not beaten a ranked Auburn team. Now, I didn't research that before this video, but I believe that is still true, unless Auburn maybe was ranked in 2018. I'm not sure, so that's an interesting number there. Anyways, regardless of that, that's probably going to be a good game either way. If Auburn's good, if Auburn is a good team like we expect them to be. Now, if they have a rough year, plus going into Tuscaloosa, that can be a blowout. So that game could go really either way. Again, it really depends on how this Auburn team is in 2019, because we know Alabama is going to be one of the top teams in the country. They are every single year. So overall, a difficult schedule, a better draw out of the East with Kentucky and Georgia, but you still have Georgia, and Kentucky's not a bad team. It's a little bit better than last year in Georgia and Florida, though. You get LSU at home. That is a big benefit for the Tigers. And then in the non-conference, North Carolina, probably not as tough as Oregon, but Auburn might not be as good this year. So I think that is going to be a similar test that we saw last year in the game against Oregon. So all in all, still one of the tougher schedules in the SEC and really in the country for this Auburn Tiger team in 2020. Thank you for watching this video. If you're an SEC football fan, please subscribe to the channel. Leave us your thoughts down in the comments below. And for the latest in SEC football, keep it right here.